My name is Mohammad Faizan and I'll be presenting on the topic Linux file system and structure under the guidance of Dr. Nilay Karade. To begin with, the acknowledgement. I would like to express my special thanks of gratitude to my professor Dr. Nilay Karade as well as our head of School of Engineering, Biswajit Champati sir, who gave us the golden opportunity to do this wonderful presentation on a topic, Linux file system and structure, which also helped me in doing a lot of research and I came to know many new things and I'm thankful to them. Secondly, I would also like to thank my parents and my friends who helped me a lot in finalizing this project in a limited time frame. Thank you. To begin with, the content. This will give us a brief overview of the further presentation that is to come. What is Linux file system? Types of Linux file systems. What files the Linux system does my system use? And top level Linux. And finally, what are the Linux file system directories? We'll be covering these 5 topics further into the presentation. To begin with, what is Linux file system? Linux file system is the collection of data or files stored in the computer's hard disk or storage. Your computer relies on this file system to ascertain the location and the positioning of the files in your storage. And if they were not there, the files would act as if they were invisible and they would cause many problems to the user. There are actually many different file systems, multiple systems that exist for Linux. Further, we'll discuss in detail the comprehensive list of file systems that are supported by Linux. Moving on, the types of Linux file systems. Upon installation, Linux offers various file systems like ext, ext2, ext3, ext4, JFS, XFS, BTRFS, and so on. Now, to elaborate in detail, we'll begin with ext. ext is the acronym that stands for Extended File System. It was created in 1992 and it is the very first file system designed specially for Linux. Now, ext, its functionality is based on the Unix file system. This system is more than 30 years old, so it is no longer in use and Linux does not support it anymore. ext2, also known as the second extended system. It was created in 1993 and it was designed to be the successor to the original extension system. Its improvements were in the areas of storage capacity, general performance, and it could notably allow 2 terabytes of data. Like ext, the system is very old and it should be avoided. ext3, or the third extended system, created in 2001, surpasses extended 2 in that it is a journaling file system. A journaling file system is a system that records in separate log changes and updates to files and data before such actions have been completed. This means if there is, due to a power outage or some crash error, the computer or hard disk crashes, the separate log containing the changes made before the crash is used to restore the files before rebooting, upon rebooting. There are much better options available now, so even ext3 is barely used. ext4, known as the fourth extended system, was created in 2006. Because the system overcomes numerous limitations that the third extended system had, it is now widely used and the default file system that most Linux distros use. While it may not be cutting edge, the important thing here is its reliability and stability, which Linux users value a lot. JFS. The file system JFS was created by IBM in 1990 and the name JFS is an acronym standing for Journaling File System. As we have already covered this in the extended file system 3, that it's a similar concept that it recovers the data once there is a power failure or there is a crash. What more it adds is it uses less CPU power than other file system. XFS, an acronym for Extended File System, was created by Silicon Graphics and originally made for the OS IRIX, but was later given to Linux. In 1990, it was created. It's a 64-bit high-performance journaling file system. It works really well with large-sized files. BTRFS. BTRFS, which is yet another acronym, stands for B-Tree File System. Created by Oracle in 2009, it is regarded as a rival file system to the ext4, although ext4 is much preferred as it transfers data faster and offers more stability overall. But BTRFS is a suitable choice. Now moving on, what file system does my system use? What file system does my system use? df is a command used to display free disk space in Linux and other operating systems. It is also used to understand and ascertain file systems that are mounted. df, which is short for disk free. Now, to run this command, we use a slight variation of the command, that is dft. It will display the file type with the currently irrelevant information, but under the type, the file system is defined. Now moving on, what is the top level in Linux? Top level in Linux, slash is the top level directory of Linux system. The name top level, the highest, means the root. Thus is the root directory of the system, the core, though it is separate from the slash root directory, so it shouldn't be confused between the two. The concept, it's not unique to Linux. Many other operating systems do have a similar concept. Even in Windows there is a root directory. There are partitions like the C drive or the D drive. In Linux, these directories are called pyramid exist. It's in a hierarchy with a specific structure. They can be observed by using the command prompt, by using the command cd hash. Most distros have the same structure, and the differences between some of them is only minuscule. Linux file system directories. There are multiple Linux file system directories, namely /bin for essential utilities, /dev for devices or files, /etc for configuration files, /home for home folder containment, /library for libraries for programs, /media for mounted media, /mnt for temporary mounts, /opt for optional packages, /proc for kernel and processor pseudo files, /root for root user and directory, /sbin for system administration program, /tmp for temporary files, /usr for user shared read-only data, and /var for variable data. To begin with, /bin. /bin, the directory contains the core system programs and important utilities. It is commonly used and well-known commands such as cat are located in the /bin directory. Moving on, /boot. It contains the files that are required in order for the system to be booted. To start the system, for booting, for example, BIOS, which stands for Basic Input Output System. This is located in the boot directory. It also checks the integrity of the hard disk of the system before launching the MBR, that is the Master Boot Record Loader. It also contains Linux kernels and many other files in addition to the BIOS. /dev, devices or files. Linux displays connected devices as files and files in the dev directory. When you connect a device, it's listed in the /dev directory. Though the thing is, as you can see by the title, these are not actual files, they just appear as files. The /dev is also where the physical drives can be mounted. Next, moving on, we have the /x, the configuration /etc, the configuration file. As discussed before, the configuration files of the BIOS and other similar files can be found in here in the /etc. You can edit these configuration files in the text editor. /home, the home folder containment. There is a home folder of every user in the system, and each one is contained together by the /home directory. These folders are created by using the name of the username. For example, my name is Faizan, so my home folder would be /home/Faizan. These home folders contain user data files and configuration files that are only specific to the user, which is also one of the only configuration files that is configuration files that are stored elsewhere beside etc. moving on, we have slash library. Each program or binary uses specific libraries to function, and the slash library directory is where libraries can be located. Slash media, mounted media, contains subdirectories where your physical media devices are mounted. For example, if you insert a USB or a CD, this shows up in the slash mounted media. You can access its contents through this directory, and that is created upon media insertion. Temporary mount slash mnt. This directory is used for mounting temporary file system. If you are using a file system for a very specific purpose and for a relatively short period of time, you should be able to you should probably mount it in slash mount, though you can mount it anywhere on the system if you choose so. Slash opt optional packages. The slash opt directory contains a set of subdirectories where optional software packages are located and are managed by the package manager. Slash proc, the kernel and processes pseudo file. The slash proc is an interesting case of directory that contains these fake files very similar to the slash dev directory that we discussed earlier. These files are special files that are actually very interesting. Interestingly, the system and process information. Moving on, the slash root directory. As we have discussed before, every user has their own home directory, and this is the home directory of the root user. The root user's home directory is located at slash root, which is noteworthy, as unlike other users, the home directory is not located by slash home. It is located at slash root, different from the root directory slash, and it should be committed in the memory if possible. Slash sbin is the system administration program. This sbin directory is similar to the bin directory, slash bin directory, in that it contains essential programs, but it differs with the addition that it is intended to be used by a root user. Slash tmp is temporary files. The temporary directory is used to store temporary files. As simple as that. They are deleted and when the system is restarted. Utilities such as tmp watch can be used to delete temporary files in the tmp directory. Slash usr, user shared read only data. Very simple. User shared directory is used to contain application files that are used and shared between two or multiple users. Variable data slash var. The slash var directory is used like usr directory mentioned above. Only instead of being read only, it is writable. The directory can contain system logs and other variable data. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.